Hi, Sarath. Good to have you on this Motivasha podcast. For people who don't know Sarath, Sarath has been pretty instrumental in being one of those people who has given up everything, given up his job, a good IT paying job, and got into motorcycling. We always see him go up north, go south, and always on some ride, long ride. So I guess it's a perfect time for us to speak to you and see what your history geography is and what have you been up to and what do you think it is?
Well, thanks for this opportunity. It's brilliant. We have been trying to put this up for a long time. Couldn't do it. About quitting the job part, I want to put a bit of stress on that before I go on to the rest of it. Don't quit a job thinking you're going to make a lot of money traveling on motorcycles. Do it because you love it. Invest in yourself, and then the dream is going to take place. Because last 3-4 years, I've been a lot of people who quit your job, travel here, travel there. That doesn't really help. So I started riding about 10-12 years ago, and the initial ride used to be around Bangalore and back. And then I figured out my comfort zone is so much I need to, go out of it. Then I did Kerala, then a bit of here and there, Rajasthan and stuff. And then when a big trip was planned, I went off to Arunachal and back, and there has been no looking back from there. I figured that's what I really like, because jobs always kept me loaded. I had to, plan my leaves and then do all the stuff. So I figured out all my, loans and EMIs, cleared it all one fine day, and then started traveling and picked up small projects, ensured on motorcycles, and then went around and then slowly started working with different motorcycle brands, organizing motorcycle trips, and pretty much did everything that was around motorcycles so that I could live a dream around living on a motorcycle or living out of a motorcycle. And that's been doing great for the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm. And is that how long you've actually left the job?
Yes. So I think it's been 6 years that I quit the job.
Okay.
I was working with IBM, quit, and then very next day I started traveling. So about 6 years of full time being out of full time job. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you wake up and look at a motorcycle and say, listen, I'm better off being on a motorcycle than being in a cabin? Is that what made you do it? Or
yes. So if you see on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock, I put a how is your cubicle today?
Yeah.
A message, and that pisses off a lot of people, but it
pisses off me.
Yeah.
I send it to my own boss saying that, listen, check this out. What do you think of this?
Yeah. So what I figured out is once you get into I don't want to call it a rat race, because a lot of people like the corporate job of it. They have their own dreams, but a lot of people kind of forget what they like and they get busy with the work, and then they, put aside the stuff, and then they hit a wall one day and figure out, shit, I couldn't do it. And then you're too old.
Yeah.
So, I had met one of my, boss who was working with me in Tesco.
Mm-hmm.
He was the youngest director in all of UK, whatever. I think at 28, he was heading all of Tesco.com, which is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me one saying was, when you're young, be dumb, do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. So that as you get older, you can, clear it out, even if you're going to take loans, work towards end it, whatever. But if you save all your money and by 50, 60 when you're old, you can't even ride a motorcycle or travel. What are you going to do with all the money?
Mm-hmm.
And that hit him very well, and then slowly started working. I think he started playing like the silent prayer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And took another 3-4 years for me, and I went on. So sometimes I miss a corporate job, but on a motorcycle, I have learned so many things. The experience has been true real and have really kept me, I think, way low. And the people and the experience and the way things come to you, elevate you a different level altogether. And that's normal things of life don't really matter to you anymore. It's not like nirvanic scene and all that, but you have a better approach towards life, and you just don't take anything for granted anymore.
Yeah.
You appreciate everything.
Yeah. So here's, I know it's a big leap to just get off, just walking off and saying, this is it, this is what I want to do. But there are a lot of people who, it's an expense and they have to look forward to that expense and see how do you match it, right? So I'm guessing, if you're not, there's an affordability, factor.
Yeah.
So if you sit there and say, hey, listen, let me just get a bike that I can ride for the next 1 year. So basically you're, managing your finances and sitting there and saying, hey, listen, get a affordable bike that I can keep riding. Doesn't matter what kind of bike. So, did you do the same thing, or what did you do? Did you have a bike already with you, and what did you do?
So see, I have been riding different motorcycles, and the longest distance that I first did was on a Royal Enfield, about 7, 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest bike that we had available that we could afford was a Royal Enfield, and most of us picked that up like a Maruti because we had service centers or mechanics who could fix the motorcycle. So that itself kind of gave us the courage or the confidence that we can ride out anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But as the time, passed, we figured out there are better motorcycles or, affordable motorcycles that we could travel with. Might not give you that 100% of adventure or 100% of highway, a mix of a good motorcycle that would keep your budget under control. Like we had a lot of Bajaj coming, that was a Honda and stuff. You don't need a faster motorcycle or a bigger CC, something that would let you run through all of it. And so I really think about that because every day on a motorcycle is expensive. Let it be your fuel, let it be your stay, let it be any damage or any accident that can happen. So you have to literally, put every number in place and then think about it. And it will still go out of your control, but that has to be started with you.
Yeah. So you've got a plan, you've got a plan.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And do you plan like a year in advance, or what do you do? You think, 6 months and then I might get, is there something that you have to fall back on or something like you sit there and going, I mean, I'm talking from my own perspective. I can see myself doing it for 3 months and then, you know what, I need a safety. I might have to go back to a job. Do you think that way, or is it completely different in your sense,
So when I quit, my IT, so too many credit cards, too many loans, life was good, running through fine, but I figured I didn't want to do this for a long time, and I had already worked with IT for about 13 years, different roles, and I figured I can always take a break, and if in case something goes wrong, I can always go back and say, pick up a call center job and say, hey, I'm calling from so and so company, would you want to have a postpaid connection? I'm like, I'm ready to pick up that job one fine day if that is required. And keeping that in mind, and went on to pick up stuff. I never planned what ride next, where do I go, whatever. Most of it was impulsive. And initially working with Mahindra, a lot of rides were like I'm coming back from Bhutan and Nepal, and then I'm like, boss, this could be a good train we could plan on. Then like, go ahead, plan trail and come back and organize rides. And when I'm not doing a longer project with anybody, I started picking up small rides. I organize rides under my brand name, doing small distance trips, sometimes Ladakh, sometimes Nepal, sometimes thing. So I kept on things brewing in between, but never thought about what after 6 months or 7 months. I'm like, that's all things.
Yeah. But there are opportunities right now.
There are definitely.
You just have to basically just get into it, and I tell people, what, why don't you go on a Sunday, get on your bike and think about what you want to do, and if that's going to make you happy. So I guess that's what you probably are doing and you're happy doing. So
absolutely, yes. Yeah.
And that's what I keep seeing. That's the biggest reason we got you on, and I told myself, listen, this is interesting because I don't know too many people who have done this, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know people, and I think I probably have had a chat with you every 6 months asking you the same thing, which is, hey, listen, how are you managing? And is there something interesting? So it's a good thing. I think it's a challenge, and I think it's good to see people who do that. And I don't know. I think it's a very, how do you say, not a very local thing, not a very Indian thing to do. But I don't know. You must be seeing it. I see a lot of Westerners who live for this. I can see a lot of female riders who've done this. Travel across the whole world, saved up for 5 years, and that was it. So what is the reason? What do you think is the reason that we are not able to do it? Is it commitment?
See, I think the way we are fine-tuned from our younger age about studying, getting a job, getting married, buying a house, buying a car, settling down, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it's already blueprinted into our things like that, so that we can't think beyond. And it's something that we don't want to go against, because most of us are staying with our family. And even if you try to go for a longer weekend ride, they're like, where are you going, why are you going, and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that is slowly changing. People are being acceptable about, their kids traveling a bit longer, riding a motorcycle and going. And I think it's going to take another 5-6 more years for it to be accepted. But I think it's getting there. Till now, that is a bigger problem. I know a lot of people who are doing bigger, working in a bigger companies and doing great jobs. They could travel wherever, fly in, take a bike and whatever, but they still say, no, I'm going to do a car because my family thinks I might, do something funny, so they want me to be safer and drive in a car and maybe do a short distance and come back over the weekend and stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. I've got another, while we're at this, there is a lot of there's a lot of people who actually ask us also. Like, we get a lot of people asking us, hey, listen, would you sponsor my ride? Would you, how would you sponsor my ride if I was, and I always tell people that, the reason that we sponsor someone's ride is we feel that there's something different that they're doing. One.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I know, we might be restricted to, being in India and, riding along the roads of India, but it's still a very rare thing to see people ride around the world. I mean, the last person that I know was Aditya Raj Kapoor, who did the, east to west of the world. But why is it so rare? Like, I'm still trying to figure out.
One main thing is the money that goes into it is expensive. If you want to ride out of India itself, maybe take Myanmar, the first thing that you're going to hit with is the carne. That's almost about 50,000, 60,000 rupees that you have to pay to the government, which you will get back once you're back.
This is on every border, every country that you
Every border. Yeah. So carne is one carne that you take. I think now you don't have to take separate. But earlier it was 100% to 200% of your bike's value. At least about 3-4 years ago, if you have a 2 lakhs motorcycle, you have to deposit 4 lakhs to the Indian government, which you will get 75% of when you come back after the trip is done.
Okay.
Now they have said, boss, we don't need that much money. We'll take about 40 or 50,000 rupees, which is non-refundable, and you get the carne. That is still affordable now. But the next thing is when you're crossing into Myanmar, you have to take a guide, you have to take a permit. I'm forgetting the term for it. That's about $600.
Wow. I think that was something that even Nepal had come with the same thing, right? If you were doing...
No, Nepal doesn't have that. Nepal doesn't have.
There's another thing. Mustang had that, right? I mean,
Mustang is different. Mustang is the entry fee. So you can enter Nepal. If you want to go to Mustang, that part of it, you have to pay Annapurna some fees of 600 rupees. $600. And then the guide. That is one way to keep the place safe.
Safe, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so they ensure it's like less crowd lands up there. I think that's what should happen to Ladakh also. But this is, riding through the country. You enter Myanmar, you have a guide traveling with you. You exit and then you go over it. And whichever country there might be, like, visa, there is an amount. And that itself is a lot of money for the, middle class person who's planning to travel from the country. There are people who have done it. There are at least about 4 or 5 people who are not on social media who are still around the world traveling. There is a friend of mine, I think he's just back in Chennai. I met him about 5 years ago when I was doing a first ride to Arunachal on the Mojo. And this guy met him there. He was in a Royal Enfield. And then went missing. 2 years later, I figured out he was settled down in Australia for about 6-7 months. He was an architect. He learned how to tattoo. He started, moving around people, tattooing, making some money, and then traveling across. And one fine day, he said, I'm taking a break, left the bike, flew back, and now he's in Chennai. He's going to go back again. So there are people doing it. But, it works out very expensive for the Indian way of life. I think that is the problem.
That's it. Okay. Are you, what is that route now? Okay, I know everybody still dreams to do the whole, I've got a bike, I'm going to head to the north, let's go to Ladakh. What is, I don't want people to go and flock it right now, but what is the other one route that you've probably not done and something that you think should be explored a little more in India?
See, I've done most of India, and I think I would say people should slowly, keep aside Ladakh and Zanskar and all that and head off to Arunachal. There is so much more to see in Arunachal that, it's beautiful. It's how Ladakh was many years ago. It's not as rough and stuff like that, but the beauty is still raw. The people are still very, friendly and helpful. They're still not commercialized. And that is something that should go explore. Go to Meghalaya. Meghalaya is beautiful. So most of the people don't go down there because it doesn't give you that social tour, right? Saying that I've been to Leh, I've been to Khartoum. That is not there, but absolutely. So I think a lot of people look forward to do that also. Not saying that the feather in the cap, like when I go to the office, where did you go? I was on Khartoum crossing or whatever. But there are other places
flag
that
and you put it on your car and your bike.
No, that's good for them. But what I'm saying is there are some other places that's still, beautiful. I always head off to Arunachal. I head to a place called Mechuka whenever I can. And that guy is like, dude, why you keep coming back here? Don't come again. I'm like, dude, I like this place. He's like, no, you have come here 5 times. Next time don't come for another, 2 years don't come. And things like that. So that's still beautiful. The valley is amazing. Ladakh is different, yes. I'm nothing against it, but Arunachal is brilliant. Meghalaya is beautiful. I think Madhya Pradesh is something that we should all explore. I think you should explore because there are so many trails that you could ride around there. Proper tiger trail that you should do.
So how many days do you need in the Northeast if somebody has to be on a motorcycle and see Because I honestly, even I tried to do a little research, and there's a lot to see. Like, I think you need at least 15 to 20, maybe a little more. I mean, I don't know. How many would you think is a good
If
time?
just for Arunachal, I would say Guwahati to Guwahati would need about 20 days.
Oh, okay.
Just Arunachal.
What is the time to go? I mean, most of the time,
now is a good time. December is a good time.
Yeah, there's always a perception that's built that it's always raining. So, I mean, that's the biggest deterrent. And that's one thing that I like about the people in this, like, the South. It's more difficult to get there, but I see, like, a little more adventure coming out of the South. I mean, I don't know if that's what you have also seen. For us, it's still that whole, hey, let's go Rajasthan, up to, Chandigarh, and then we'll head to sites. The deterrent for us is always crossing through the center. And everybody feels that, this is not an exciting route. But like you said, it should not be about that. It should just be about, that whole experience that you're going to get there. I mean, there'll be people who even told us, why don't you go from Bombay to Hyderabad and then get to the east coast and then head up from there. Which is a little, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that is, if that's a sane decision to make. But like you said, the motorcycle, you want to just be on and experience that whole terrain and get going.
So I have done both, Bangalore to Bombay to Delhi and Bangalore to, Chennai, that side, Odisha to Kolkata also. I still prefer the south part of it even more, Western Ghats section, stuff like that. The eastern side is slightly boring unless you reach Visakhapatnam or you reach Odisha. Rest of it is just highway that you can paste on. But initially I used to do all the home runs, home to home. Start from Bangalore, finish my trip in Bangalore. But now I don't do that. I ship my bike to wherever, maybe Chandigarh or Guwahati, and then travel up and down, because I would want to spend more time there rather than the highway. So on a bigger bike, it's a slightly tough thing to get the courier part of it done. But I think Arunachal is something that you should definitely do sometime soon, because they're breaking the mountains, making the roads.
Oh, is it?
And another 3 years, I think it's going to be very accessible. For good for locals, but it might not be as adventurous as how it is now.
What about the south? I mean, that's one question that even we keep thinking that there's something more to it than just, heading to the main highways of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. I mean, I see a lot of Karnataka, and I see there's so much still to explore. Is it still there, or is it?
There is a lot. So, especially Bangalore is anyway gone. Bangalore is like a proper city. Nothing around. There is just outside where I stay, Kanakpura. As you ride on the highway, wherever you want to take a left or right, there is some trail leading somewhere. Even if it goes to somebody's property, it gets interesting as you reach somewhere. And as you head closer to Chikmagalur and that places, the beautiful terrain. Coffee estates, and if you make friends with them, you get to ride through their coffee estate, go to another place. You might even bump into elephants and route and stuff like that, and come back. Then you have Bandipur. There is a lot of places, even food for the matter. So, Bangalore, one of the reasons why a lot of people like this, 300 or 400 kilometers range, there is so many beautiful places that you could land up. And Monday you're back to office as much as you can be.
Which is my excitement. Which is my excitement to come down to Bangalore. I can see Bangalore, get on the coast, get to Kerala. I hope I have time. But there's so much around that, like you said, it's 4 hours to 6 hours to, and you're somewhere. You're at least somewhere different. But that's definitely. So, I'm going to ask you my last question, which is, what would you suggest and recommend to people who want to get out for those 10, 15 days? What should be their state of mind? Because I know, I mean, I would do it 15 years back, which is just get on a bike and just, get a backpack and just go. Now, I think people are very worried about what to carry, how much to carry, and, how do you plan that? What is your state of mind?
Okay. So first thing I would say is places are not going anywhere. That is something that I have been telling everybody. I learned it from Navro's contractor a few years ago. And I figured, when people start, I want to go to Ladakh, I want to go to Rajasthan. It's okay if you are not able to make it. Enjoy what you have in between. Because of the fight that you're going to put to reach there, you might stop enjoying what is there. So, keep that in mind and then ride. And also prepare for the situation that you're riding into. You might have heard all negative things around the stories and newspapers and social media, but there are people who definitely come and help you in case something goes wrong. But don't do it in such a way that, you have to take help. Like I see a lot of people landing up in Spiti in winter. It's good. If you're going with a support vehicle with yourself, it's fine. But don't land up there and trouble the locals who are already, in a very tight situation where trying to, cut through the next 6 months. Don't go eat up their part of the food also. Go prepared for that. Then it's okay. Carry bare minimum luggage. You don't need all the saddle stays, all the saddle bags, tank bags, backpacks and all that. Try to keep it bare minimum. Figure out what weather conditions you're riding into and prepare accordingly. If you're going to be cold, have a good riding jacket that you're going to carry. If it's going to be cold, long highway, ensure you have water that you're carrying, less luggage. That's what's going to help. So things that you carry might differ from people to people. I have actually written a blog on that, on what bare minimum is to carry. But cut down. So, and also the one thing that people don't understand is on the highway you could do about 600, 800 kilometers. But when you're reaching closer to the mountains, your distance that you can cover is lesser. On the highway, you might do about 800 kilometers on a highway. On a highway, once you reach mountains, you might not be able to even do 80 kilometers the whole day. So Google Maps helps that way. So you can put kilometers and it tell you how many hours it's going to take. So don't plan differently. So put an Excel sheet, say from here to Ladakh. Fine. From here to Chandigarh is what's going to be quicker, or maybe Manali. After that, everything is going to slow down. So plan accordingly. Don't, try to do Manali to Ladakh in one day and then have AMS and get stuck in Pang or, Sarchu. So cut your breaks that way and things like that. Even if you miss out one or two places, it's okay. Don't try to rush and put yourself and other people into trouble. And I think start the day with a positive attitude and things go well. If you start with saying something is going to go wrong, something will definitely go wrong and you will not get anybody help you out. I've ended up in situations where I've got help from people that I don't know, man. I'm just standing. There was one experience when I was like, my first ride to Arunachal has taught me so much. I always go back to. I was stuck in a place where there is an accident that happened in the front, and there are a lot of cops and locals. There is a fight going on. Okay, they have cut a tree and put in the road, and they blocked. And I'm heading to Arunachal for the first time, and I don't know how the route works, map works, and stuff like that. So guy on the left is like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Siliguri. He said, no, you can't go, you're stuck. I said, I have to be there because, I have some plans the next day or something. Then he speaks to the other guy who's on the right side and he said, tell him the route, what he can take shortcut. He told me the route, I couldn't figure out. He said, no problem, follow me. He takes a U-turn, takes me through about 5 kilometers of detour. He, lets me connect me to the other side of the road and he says, now you go. And he takes a U-turn and comes back to this place. He didn't have to do that. But he did that 8 kilometers to ensure that I was not in trouble. Otherwise, I would be stuck there the whole day and I would have to maybe go back via Malda and come wherever. Malda is the worst possible place you can be stuck with because of bad roads. But the local helped me out. I mean, I don't know. He helped me out. And there was an accident one day and locals have come help you out. So start with a positive attitude and things will go well. And idea is don't stay in your own group. Connect with the local people also. If you're at the chai shop, talk to the chai guy. Talk to the guys people around. If you're at 3-4 people, most of the times what happens is you end up talking only to yourself.
Just your own people, exactly.
And what happens is you don't know what's happening around. You talk to them, that guy might tell you a different route to do, a better route to do, or a beautiful place that you can go see that is not on the Google Maps, which might add more experience to yourself. So things like that,
Good, man. I think that's a lot of good advice for people who are starting up. I look at this and there's not much knowledge sharing for somebody who's getting on the bike right now. I see that not happening. And I see, I think it's a good idea that, I'm going to call you the Nirvana of bikers right now. And you putting such kind of message, it's good. It's good for them to understand that. I mean, when we started off as well, it was exactly the same thing. We just got on the bike and then, slowly and slowly you learn that, what, maybe I need to do this now. Maybe I need to do, 6 hours of riding instead of 8, and then how do you make that better? How do you start, enjoying your ride better?
Absolutely. So you can't do 1,000 kilometers a day the very first day. You slowly build 100, 200 and then understand what you like and you start doing that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Sarath, I think it was interesting. It was good. I mean, we've had somebody last week who told us why you should be on ATV bikes. I think I don't see that coming from you because I always believe that whatever bike you have, you can enjoy it. And
that's what I've learned. Any motorcycle can go anywhere. It's just about how much you're going to push or not. So when you plan something for a long distance, you don't have to buy maybe a 150cc or a 1000cc. So figure out the road conditions, what works for you, what you're comfortable with, and then go with. Because I've seen people buying bigger motorcycles that they don't have experience with, and going to the terrains they don't have an experience with, and then becomes a more problem. They start hating it more than enjoying it. So, yeah.
Great, good stuff. Thanks so much, Sarath. I think we've enjoyed this. Hope to catch up with you soon. I mean, that's something that I think as motorcyclists, there's always some place that you always meet up. And definitely catch up with you on the road sometime. Thanks so much, man. This is
definitely
good.
Thanks for the opportunity, I believe.
No worries. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you have anything to say about motorcycles and more, DM us on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to get you on the show and hear your experiences.